I made a shocking discovery today when I was hanging out over at MEUK's Discord server.
Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well, are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well,
Sound level.
So here, quick question, flat Earth. So if
Who?
How do you know the Earth is flat?
RC Meisty, cool. Have you heard of surveying?
Yes, I have.
Okay, right. So that's a job that people have. Yeah, and what they do is they check the land and they check the elevation difference across the land for drainage and you know, like for plotting and building houses, making foundations and basically knowing, you know, how to build and that sort of stuff, right? Well, because they use elevation, and the differing elevation turns it into a 3-dimensional surface, right? And a flat is a 2-dimensional surface, so you gain an extra dimension within that vertical difference. So surveyors sort of prove that it's not flat.
Okay.
So what was your question again, then?
Yeah, you seem to have not listened to my question. My question is, how do you know the Earth is flat?
Bev just answered your question.
I know that the Earth's not flat, so...
I'm not talking about specifically finding clips, but just taking a video from start to finish. Like the one with McToons and Jeff and then George the other night. Like, they did so many different little tactics that, you know, you see it as it happens.
We're going to go over... We're going to go over the Jeff bit today, hopefully.
Right on.
So, I mean, like, yeah, we've got what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to go over, a short video of a actual surveyor, like a professional surveyor, going over the basics, the proper basics. Step 1 of how to, you know, do this. How to work with these tools, and then we are going to go over a little bit that I've clipped of Jeff and McToons and contrast the two of them. Just, you know, people can make their own minds up on what they decide then, and we can then put that on the put it on the website so people can refer to it. Specifically over the surveying bit, but I mean, yeah, the tactics that they use will no doubt come into play as well, rather than just talking about what, you know, what is in reality and supposedly meant to be their job. Rather, they can't do that. There's a 7-minute video here of the Illinois surveyor. I may just stop it and pause it briefly while when he says certain things, just to recap. But are we okay to go over this now, right? Everybody ready? Got your brews ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
I think so.
I'm ready.
Play.
Okay. Right, well,
off we go.
On the live stream.
The contour lines on topographic maps like this one indicate slope and elevation. In this 5-part video series, we'll explore the tools and methods used to determine elevation. I'm Todd Horton for the Illinois Professional Land Surveyors Association.
Right, a couple of things there. See that map? He called that a topographic map. It's flat. Does have contour lines on it though, and he said elevation. Everyone catch that? He said so. He's going to explain how they do elevation, and he pointed to that, and that's a topographic map to this man. Doesn't have to have lifts and bumps and all of that on it. Doesn't have to have raises to be a topographic map. The contour lines denote those elevation changes. So we'll carry on.
A mapping survey collects the information we need to make maps. Maps can be enormously valuable for decision making. For example, in modern agriculture, we can use maps to analyze the shape of the land surface and to plan drain tile systems like you see here. We pay close attention to surface slope to produce efficient, reliable systems. You learned that slope is a ratio of rise over run. Rise is a change in elevation, that is a vertical distance, and run is a horizontal distance. Measuring horizontal distance is simple with a tape or with a measuring wheel. But how can we measure the vertical distance, that is, the rise between the points shown here? Well, that vertical distance is best found by a process we call leveling. To most people, this is a level. More specifically, this is a carpenter level. It has a bubble tube that indicates which end of the level is higher than the other. Well, how does it do that? You see, the bubble moves in a curved tube like you see here. That's a very flat curvature. As the tube tilts, the buoyant bubble rises to the highest possible position within the tube. Now, if I can hold the carpenter level steady, with the bubble centered within the marks, both ends of the level will have the same elevation. Here you can see that the concrete surface at this end is higher than the concrete surface at the other end of the level. The underside of the level is now a reference line we can use. With the bubble centered within the marks, I can measure down from the underside of the level to the concrete. This measurement is 0.18 feet. Since the other end of the level sits on the concrete, the vertical distance between the two ends is 0.18 feet. By repeating this process over and over, adding measurements end to end, we can find the vertical distance between two distant points. But that becomes very impractical as the horizontal distance increases. So, instead, for leveling surveys, we use instruments like these. This is an optical level. It's basically a telescope that can be oriented to create a horizontal or level line of sight. Well, how does that work?
I'll just pause that there. Yeah. I'll go back a second.
Say horizontal or level.
Or level, like as though there's no difference. You just the or was pretty important, right? He made no distinction.
Is this guy qualified?
Well, how does that work? The level telescope contains a crosshair. The horizontal crosshair defines a level plane in all directions. That is, your line of sight through the horizontal crosshair is a level line, perpendicular to gravity. Just like the underside of the carpenter level was held level just a few moments ago, now your line of sight is level. Because the optical level is telescopic, you can see farther. If you can see farther, then the distance between your measured locations can grow. To measure elevation difference with an optical level, we also need a level rod. This one is graduated in decimal feet upward from 0 at the bottom. The difference in two rod readings taken from the same instrument location equals the elevation difference. Now here are some examples of optical levels. This dumpy level was made around 1915. Notice how long the telescope is. Using the 4 adjusting screws in the instrument base, a surveyor would level the instrument in 2 directions, centering the bubble in its cylindrical tube.
The tilting level represented the next generation of leveling precision. This one was manufactured in the 1940s. As optical science had improved, it sported a shorter telescope, and it had an innovative feature that allowed more precise leveling: the split bubble. Below the long bubble tube, an adjustable mirror reflects light into the fluid and bubble in the cylindrical tube. Using a separate eyepiece and another internal mirror, the operator views 2 halves of the bubble image and adjusts the level carefully to align the 2 images. Introduced in the 1950s, the automatic level contains a set of tiny mirrors that move automatically in response to Earth gravity, ensuring that the instrument line of sight is perfectly level. If the instrument settles during use, this automatic compensator simultaneously adjusts the line of sight back to the horizontal plane. Here you can see the top of the mechanism moving as the instrument is tilted. Because they contain compensators, automatic levels can give greater precision than older uncompensated instruments can. With the advent of inexpensive laser devices, the rotary laser level has made some leveling surveys possible with only a single surveyor. A revolving mirror produces a horizontal plane of laser light. A laser detector on a special leveling rod enables measurement at each desired location. Farm drain tile installation equipment commonly uses a laser plane to control the pipe depth, ensuring proper slopes and efficient drainage. For high precision, digital levels with advanced internal compensators read the barcode on a special rod while simultaneously collecting atmospheric pressure and temperature readings. Each of these methods creates a horizontal or level line. Using this line, just like we used the underside of the carpenter level, we can find elevation differences, but with a telescope or with a focused beam of laser light, we can extend that line much farther with greater precision.
So far, you've seen the main tools we use for leveling. In the next video, we'll explore the basic processes of a leveling survey. I'm Todd Horton for the Illinois Professional Land Surveyors Association.
Thanks, Todd.
How many times do you say horizontal and level?
Or level, or level, or horizontal.
Plenty of times.
In the
great.
same sentence.
Yeah. So we
no
would
differentiation. Sorry, Bed.
We would be happy to say from what that man just said, that level, horizontal, the same thing. I mean, that would be my experience, right? I mean, that's why I came into it like I did. Saying that level is horizontal. It's the same thing. Horizontal levels don't rise because a horizontal line's a straight line. Straight lines don't rise. Especially horizontal.
I wonder what Craig, Fight the Tight Shirts reaction would be to that video. Would he be telling him, the guy in this video, that he's wrong?
You might be calling him. I don't know.
No, you teach your child that level is a horizontal plane, which is not true.
Yes,
and the implication of that is that you are teaching your child the earth is flat.
Flat earther? Do you reckon?
Yeah. At the very minimum.
Yeah.
The very, very minimum.
When he is teaching people, imagine if a child saw that.
My word. That would open the floodgates of abuse from Craig then, wouldn't it?
I'm saying, personally, I believe the things that you teach your child, your autistic child, is psychological child abuse.
Like, that water is level?
No, you teach your child that level is a horizontal plane, which is not true.
Yes.
And the implication of that is that you are teaching your child the earth is flat.
I mean, that's very basic, right? And I know it's very basic, that what he was saying there. But, I mean, it is pretty basic stuff. But, I mean, you'd think that if there was something a bit more to it, he would have mentioned at that point, right? That.
Well, if he's trying to establish basic principles in this video, you don't establish basic principles and then, if it gets more complicated further down the line...
I know I said at the beginning it was a straight line, but now we're just going to change our mind.
Yeah. It doesn't happen that way. Once basic principles are established, they are established basic principles.
So,
and these basic principles are horizontal, level, synonymous.
Yeah. Level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. As always been said. But come to Tuesday, I mean, I think most people should be aware of what we were doing, but it was my understanding that because we were getting used to, or getting closer to the end of this doing our test, right? We Cleary set up a debate with McToon and Jeff, who claims to be a surveyor from Maine. Now, we were meant to be having this debate. Nothing got talked about. We weren't told. A bit short of it, we got told about the Zoom meeting and all of that. But it was a bit of a setup, is the point. But this bit that we're going to go over here now is the specific meeting with a so-called claimed surveyor. Now, going from what that man has just told us, who he claimed to be a professional surveyor from Illinois, and no doubt you can go on to that. That's free for anybody to use that material in that last video.
And I bet this guy from the last video has credentials that are checkable, that are referenceable, and you can pretty much guarantee that he is who he says he is.
Yeah, he put his face out there, and I mean, I don't think he could go against anything. I don't think he said anything wrong in reality terms. So I hope he doesn't get attacked by people who who think that level is horizontal means something. Well, I don't know. We'll go on, because I think these are the people that think that. So this is us going into the debate now. If anybody wants to, if you hear anything within this bit, just let us know, and I'll try and pause it, and we'll talk over it. But there's an hour 40 odd of this, but this is basically us trying to talk about the test. Hopefully I'll get to talk about it when I'm in the thing. So here we go. This is going to be a bit confusing, because I don't tend to have a different voice, so you'll have to you'll be all right.
I made a shocking discovery today when I was hanging out over
We've already had that.
MEUK's Discord server.
Let me do Cleary again. And then this is a bit I clicked out at the beginning.
The water level. All right. Bev is going to have a surveyor set out a horizontal tangent line, or a horizontal line going from A to C. That's right. The black mark. Okay. Yeah. That's our horizontal. Now, Bev is going to take this water level, fill it up so that the top of the water level coincides with the horizontal line at A. And then he expects to go out to C and see that the water level at C, in that water level, the water itself will agree with the horizontal tangent. That's his claim. Our claim is what's going to really happen.
Wow. Whoa, George. Can you just say, don't say our claim.
Bev, be quiet.
All right, let him speak for everyone then. Go on.
All right. So, for those of us that understand that the Earth is curved, this is what's actually going to happen. You're going to have your water level go from A to C. You're going to fill it up at A, so it agrees with the horizontal tangent or the horizontal line, and then the water will seek its own level so that the height of the water pipe at A, the water at the top of the pipe is going to be at the same height at C above the curvature of the Earth, and there will be a gap between the height of the water at C and the horizontal line.
Hey,
and
George.
Look at that. How ridiculous. I've paused it now to say that. I've paused it. This is me talking now here today. But look, just look how ridiculous that is. Right? He said fill the water level up at A. Would it not pour out at C? Surely. It's higher.
So
everyone knows that, right?
It would pour out until there is
till it reached the level.
A level plane forms between the 2 points.
A horizontal level plane.
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Well, unless you have a curved image of the model that you think you live on. Like George. Everybody knows that, like George says.
It will be 8 inches in a mile. If you go back to point B, it will be 2 inches to the point where you get to A,
no point
that
B.
there won't be any gap. So the further you go out from A towards C, the more of a gap there will be between the top of the water on the water level and the
So, George, when it looks like your first drawing, when it looks like that, what are you going to say?
Oh, I'll concede. I'll say the Earth is flat. And I'll scream from the rooftops.
The Earth won't be flat, though, George. It won't make the Earth flat. There will still be mountains and valleys.
Yes. We get it.
It will just make level horizontal, right? Will you admit that?
I'll declare that the Earth is not a spherical planet. How's that?
Declare that level is horizontal, right? Because that's what the test is, right? It's a test to show that level is horizontal.
It's simple.
All right, fine. If you want to define it that way, fine. Okay.
Thank you. Why are you showing that thing that Casey's done, where she's bent?
Yeah. So that is the
what
prediction.
You imagine?
That is the globe.
It's a different model. Are you sure? Have you seen all of those different water levels?
I'm sure that is the globe
have
prediction.
You seen that those are water levels? All the different colours.
I will clarify again. I am sure that is the globe prediction.
Okay. He's sure that is the globe prediction, even though it contradicts exactly what George has just said.
Yeah, but George did speak for everybody.
Yeah, George spoke for everybody, and then McToon said straight after it that he's absolutely sure this model, which means when George was talking just a moment before, he didn't listen or look or take note of what George was saying. He's got his own model, and this is McToon's model.
So let me get this straight. We've got 2 representatives of the Bull model, we would say, who are in the same Zoom room meeting, who are putting forward and supporting 2 different ideas of what would happen under the same circumstances on their model.
Yeah, their own personal models. Yeah, we're just live streaming.
All right. I was going to say that. Sorry, DP.
No, go on. Off you go.
I was going to say the black one at each end. The water level that's connected. one into the other. So am I right in saying that on the first explanation from George, he would have the one on the right lower than the one on the left?
Yeah.
For those that may not have.
Yeah, and that model there that is showing on screen right now, I would say has a horizontal level of the water, apart from the fact that it's been curved in the actual water. But I mean, there's no drop in between those two black ones at the ends. Also, there's a purple one in the middle. That's also.
Well, then also you've got if you're on the left-hand side, which is the starting point, the one on the right is 8 inches lower. But if you're on the on the right, then surely the left-hand one would be lower.
Yeah.
Because it the drop from one end to the other, isn't it? Depending on where you're standing.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got contradicting models straight off, and both of them are showing their contradicting models, but neither of them have noticed that each other's models contradict theirs. It's quite a nice state to be if you're a globe Earth or globe model believer, because you can just believe anything you want, apparently. I mean, we'll go to see what Jeff thinks in a minute. Brilliant. So when that doesn't happen, and we find out, will you be the same as George? Will you say, wow?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Great, guys. Good talking to you.
Yeah.
From end to end, it is not horizontal.
Yes, it is.
No, from one end of the mile to the other end,
So
it's not a horizontal
are you saying an auto level would not establish a horizontal?
I'm saying that differential leveling techniques done properly will account for curvature automatically when you keep the foresight and the backside relatively short and equal through the entire level.
We've got you.
Right, that's Jeff. It says that
this is the main surveyor. Yeah, this is the guy that professes to have these qualifications in surveying.
Yeah,
he knows what he's talking about.
He's the man that just said. So you've got George saying water drops away from your point, and then you've got McToon saying it'll sort of even out from your position. It depends where your position is, but you would be level with a lump in the middle on McToon's model, whereas Jeff has just said that differential leveling techniques, if done properly, using a tool that establishes a horizontal, if you use that tool properly, you will automatically account for curvature somehow. So this, Jeff says he's a surveyor, and if we go into the conversation now. So that's the outline of the three people that were in here, but we're just going to go over Jeff and McToon's, because McToon's does a lot of speaking for Jeff as well.
I can hear you, but I don't know about Cleary or the main surveyor. So, and we've got the main surveyor is he had a limited time, and so he's I think currently trying to come in. He let's see if he responded to me. He has just a certain amount of time. Like it's 4 p.m. for him, and you can't do surveying from home, so he
does what?
You can't do surveying work from home. You actually have to go out to the field. I can write software from home. So
is that what he does?
Bev, you know what he does.
I don't know. No.
I want to focus.
Yeah.
Bev, you know he is a licensed geodetic surveyor in the state of Maine. So
no, I don't.
There you go.
You've just said that to me. He's never said that.
Oh, Bev, you're cute.
Sorry?
I said you're cute. I mean, I don't mean you're cute, right? But, you're cute.
Well, what do you not think he's never said that? He's never said that, you know. He's a licensed geodetic surveyor. Yeah, no, he's never actually said that.
No, he's not a geodesic. He's a geodetic.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. What's the difference?
Survey. Geodetic is a word. Geodesic is not what.
Yeah, okay. What's the difference between that and a normal surveyor?
That isn't. My goodness, my focus keeps going out. That is a normal surveyor. A geodetic surveyor is a normal surveyor. Okay. There is a subset of geodetic surveying that they call planar surveying, which that they can't do, the geodetic parts of it because they're not. They're not qualified and trained.
Difference?
They can't do. The geodetic parts of it because they're not. Not qualified and trained.
Difference? What's the difference, please?
Difference?
Yeah.
The difference between a planar surveyor and a geodetic surveyor.
Yeah, to you.
So a planar surveyor can only work in a certain within a certain range because it is because if you get into a larger area, you have to take into account the curvature of the Earth.
What's that? What's that area?
I don't know offhand, but when
I heard it was 100 square miles that planar surveyors do, and then anything over that is your other type of surveyors, right?
Yeah, it requires.
It says there's two different. There's plane and geodetic surveying based on different considerations of true shape of the Earth. Surveying is broadly classified into two different types. Plane surveying assumes the Earth is flat, curvature and spheroidal shape of the Earth is neglected. This type of surveying, all triangles formed by joining survey lines are considered as plane triangles. It is employed for small survey works where errors due to the Earth's shape are too small to matter. So, how small an area does this thing say, right? In geodetic surveying, the curvature of the Earth is taken into account while calculating reduced levels, angles, bearings and distance. This type of surveying is usually employed for large survey works. Survey works up to 100 square miles, 260 square kilometers, are treated as plane. And beyond that are treated as geodetic. So they give you an area of up to 100 square miles. Now we have had this discussion on Twitter and all of that for exactly what 100 square miles is. You could say that 1 mile by 100 miles is 100 square miles. Although what sort of a program or building works would require that being 1 mile long and 100 miles. So how exactly you work out that particular area is a bit up in the clouds, and and up in the air. Nobody can really tell you. But what I would say is that seems to be the size of the biggest project that you could possibly have anyway. 100 square miles. So there would be no curvature taken into account for, say, something like LIGO. That's only 4 kilometers or something like that. I mean, that's well within the range of that for. But that I mean, guess that's the best we can do so far with area. Has anyone else ever had an area that surveyors? I've never heard any of these people tell us anything else other than at a point. So that's why I brought that up there.
That's something else I meant to say earlier, actually, Bev, when you were playing that surveyor earlier, the first video, that he defined a line as a line, not a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
which may sound silly to some, but once you get into this subject, you will discover that there is a claimed difference between, well, there is a difference between a line and a point, but a line is not a point.
Yes. A point at each end of a line. Okay, right, so here we go. Carry on.
Geodetic surveyors, if you're over that amount.
Over 100.
But
yeah,
it,
so
depends.
up
It
to
depends
100 square miles, that would be planar surveying, right?
Yeah, so it also depends on the margin of error necessary, right? So I suppose if they need a tighter margin of error, then you would not be able to do planar surveying up to 100 square miles. It'd be smaller depending on the needs.
Or you could just do geodetic surveying all the time and save yourself that trouble.
Oh, so there's no need for planar surveyors then? Is that what you just said?
No. You could save yourself the trouble of having to convert back and forth, worry about, oh, do I do plane surveying here or do I do geodetic surveying here? Just do geodetic principles all the time and save yourself the problem.
So there is definitely a difference between these surveyors then, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what sort of tools would you say a geodetic surveyor plays or uses instead of a normal, just the average surveyor?
I already said, Bev, a normal surveyor is a geodetic surveyor.
See, why's McToon's coming in there for Jeff? What?
And he's just directly contradicted what Jeff said.
Yeah.
Jeff said there was a difference, and McToon has come in and said he's already said that one is the same as the other.
Yeah, I find it strange the eagerness of McToon's computer guy to jump in for a so-called professional, right? It's strange. But hey, you'll find that he does that quite a bit. Okay, so an auto level then, what sort of tool would that be?
It's an auto level.
Which type of surveyor would use an auto level?
Any surveyor can use an auto level.
Okay, because it establishes a horizontal plane of reference, right?
It establishes a horizontal plane that you would make measurements from, and then you make curvature corrections as you need to.
Curvature corrections within the horizontal plane?
Curvature corrections to your measurements after the fact.
You make curvature corrections to your measurements?
Yes.
Oh. You're not just like that. Curvature corrections to measurements.
So is he adding a separate metric on top of what he measured?
Yeah, there's a day of calculations, right?
Mm-hmm. So you make measurements.
Yeah.
And then add the calculation to your measurements.
Yeah, to adjust.
To adjust for
your measurements not being correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I presume. This is Jeff surveying, so right. Seems to be different than this other guy. The other guy didn't seem to mention anything about this.
No.
Just sort of measure what you measure when you look through the scope.
You measure what you measure, you write that down, and then you apply corrections as necessary.
Okay, so when is it necessary for you to apply corrections? Because I've never heard of that.
Well, you can look at the National Geodetic Surveyor. You can look at the National Geodetic Survey manual on geodetic leveling. It will tell you.
Okay, can you not tell us?
I'm sorry?
Can you not tell us?
What is it you want me to tell you?
What the when the corrections have to be applied? Because we've got a test, right? Is that what we're talking over tonight?
Yeah.
The
Go back
water
to your
level
question.
test,
Don't wait. Go back to your first question. Then don't segue to the other topic before he gets a chance to answer, though. Right.
Right.
Let him answer. Yeah.
So, Bev, let's get the wordiness out of there. What is it you're asking me?
Which one? Well, McToon's sort of just saying with some other question. We were just talking, weren't we?
Before we get to your test, what do you want to ask?
I don't want to ask you anything. We were here to talk about the test, right?
No.
Or are we doing? We're just having a little chit chat. What are we here for, McToons, please? I know we've been very vague. Like you talked to Cleary earlier, and then we've been asking what we were meant to be doing here tonight, and you've not said anything. You've given us a link to this Zoom thing. I've clicked it, and now I'm here.
Excellent. Good job.
Right, so what's the format that we're going to be going over tonight?
It's an open format, but I do have a couple things maybe that we could cover kind of in a little structure that might be kind of fun.
I'd just like to point out here that did you notice how Goon dragged the conversation away from the water level test?
Yeah,
when you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeff, right, the main surveyor, I think he did touch on the difference between geodetic and planar surveying.
The question I was asking him that McToons was giving him space for was, how do you apply corrections? When do you apply corrections? What's this when it's needed? That's what he was obfuscating there.
Yeah.
And I think he even tries to have a go with Jeff and get him to explain it in a minute.
Yeah, because I think Jeff did mention the geodetic survey manual or whatever, but the corrections is key right there, I think.
Yeah, I don't like it until somebody explains it to me. I don't understand it. I would need a surveyor to explain what was going on, and I tried to get it. I think we'll carry on.
So, all right. So I think the question Bev was asking was when or how do you apply curvature corrections when you're in the process of doing surveying work?
When you cover a certain distance, you need to start applying curvature corrections if to meet certain accuracy requirements for whatever the project might be.
So can you give an example of what a requirement might be, and then how you'd and what distance might be the right?
Well, actually, plane surveyors do account for curvature anyway in their elevations. So you always need to apply curvature corrections to your elevations. When you're using your theodolite or your total station and you're measuring those distances, you need to apply the 8 inches times the mile squared elevation correction. It's expressed a bit differently for surveying because you understand 8 inches times the mile squared. We're mixing units there. We've got to have everything in the same units. So the correction becomes 0.
Right, this is quite good, right? 8 inches per mile squared, and for some reason he seems to think they're in the wrong elements, right? There's something, so he needs to apply a correction. Listen to
Can
this.
you look in debate discussion real quick? I don't know if you can read Jesse's Twitter, but he says Bev can't even spell my name correctly. It's like Kozlowski's failure response on Twitter.
Oh, what have I spelt wrong?
Probably may have spelled
he's got
that.
a Z.
Yeah, S instead of a Z.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that was a bit of a failure, isn't
it? It still doesn't change the fact that he failed in what he was trying to do.
Tell him he can come in and do it. I'll change that for him though. If that's what he wants changing, I'll change that Z and put a Z in there for him. But I mean, he can come and have a chat at some point if he wants to explain any of this surveying stuff.
So he's definitely seen it. That's cool.
Yeah, on the website. Nice, good. Yeah, I'll be doing a bit more on that.
0.24
right
times feet expressed in thousands. So a mile.
Right, so he's gone from inches to feet into decimal inches, inches to miles, 8 inches per mile squared, and changed that to decimal inches to feet.
Mile would be 5.28. And that's squared.
Okay, so that would be the curvature for a certain point, right? Of a imagined radius, right?
It's not imagined.
Right, so but there's many, isn't there?
Many what?
Different radiuses. Or radii, I don't know what you call it.
Right, so plural of radius is radii, but I'm not gonna punish you for saying radiuses.
You do have many, right? On your
So
on your
Earth
model. Yeah, that is not going to punish me for getting it wrong, even though I didn't get it wrong.
I was just thinking that he's not going to punish you.
But I mean, we did go over this the other day. I don't know whether we had a chat on it, whether we were recording it or not. He'd just done a tweet earlier on in the day that says the Earth isn't a perfect sphere, therefore it does have not just one radius. So it has many radiuses, which
radii.
Yeah.
Radii, but we
well, like a circle can't have many. It only has one radius. That's the point.
Yep.
And a circle, a radius is the center of a circle to the circumference. Now, if it's not a perfect sphere, then it's not a sphere, therefore it doesn't have a radius. It cannot have many, because then it's not a sphere, and a radius is the definition of the center point to the circumference of a circle or sphere.
Exactly, yeah.
So geometrically, I don't understand what he's talking about here, but hey, this is a different type of geometry, apparently.
So, how many different radii would their oblate spheroid have?
An infinite number, probably. Oh, it'd be hard to count them, right?
So they've got no radius there anyway, then?
No. For a radius is a circle, right? It's the center of that circle. That's how you describe a circle, with that radius.
Brad stopped by on a debate discussion to drop his drawings in here again.
Oh well, yeah, we can get back to them. We will. I'd like to get back to Brad, but we'll do this one first. And
what did
the
you
Earth
put
is not
in
a perfect.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. What did you put in debate discussion, probably?
Just the spelling correction for Kozlowski. I mean, we have to get the spelling of his name right in his failure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'll just deny it's him. So.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I'll send it out now.
Lovely. Thank
you. Check it by Sly as well. Make sure it's all right with him.
Yeah.
Sphere.
Yep.
It is spherical.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes called an ellipsoid in shape. And the 8 inches times the mile squared is plenty accurate enough for point-to-point of a control network.
Okay, so what is that 8 inches per mile squared then?
It's an elevation correction for curvature.
Okay, and that is everywhere?
In every direction.
Okay. So you saying when they have a tool like an auto level that establishes a horizontal, you say you need to establish a curvature correction, you say?
So in auto level, so differential leveling is a little bit different than trig leveling. So trig leveling is what you're doing with a theodolite or a total station. With differential leveling through an auto level, generally speaking, if you keep your foresights and backsights equal in distance, you can get away with ignoring curvature correction over a short distance, but you should apply it when you're getting into longer and longer distances.
What do you mean by longer distances? Do you mean like in your transitions? You know, like 30 feet or something. Oh, no, sorry, 100 feet, 30 meters, something like that. Like,
So
if
I
you
know- I
go
know that
above that.
I know that you're a huge fan of me saying I don't prefer going over 100 feet between the auto level and the level rod.
Yep. That's where you take your measurements, right? For anybody not.
I say that distance because that's my personal preference, because the rod gets harder to read the farther away it is from the auto level.
Yeah.
But I don't hold it against someone who can push those legs a little farther and achieve the accuracy that's required for the project that they're transferring the elevation
Okay,
for.
well, when would you... Right, okay. So this is Jeff.
The spaces between the hash marks on the rod just get too darn large to make that reasonable, right? So this isn't what I see through the scope. It's more like that. It's like, okay, well, this is about to scale on my screen anyway, what I'm looking at. That gets hard to see when you get farther away, and it makes it tricky to read accurately. So you go more than 100 feet and this gets really, really hard. So you go more than 100 feet and this gets really, really hard. So you go more than 100 feet and this gets really, really hard.
So recently
Right, so Jeff himself with an auto level says you don't go above 100 feet with it when it's looking.
Why is where are they shooting across lakes?
Yeah.
You know, a mile down the road. It's a little contradictory, I would say.
Yeah. So that's why I brought that up there, just pointing out to him that I know that he said you don't go over 100 feet when you're looking. When would you add your curvature correction into the known measured distances? Because you're going 30 feet, right, in between your transitions.
Well, that's an interesting question, Bev. So let's take I listened to you talking to Mr. Sensible the other day, and you said something about a mile.
Did you hear that? Now, that's an interesting question. Does that not sound like a politician that's just going to go ahead and not answer the question?
Yeah, this is the live Bev I'm talking to you here. Yeah, he must be a fan too, because he's following you over to McToon's show as well. You know.
Yeah.
He's definitely keeping tabs on you. He's probably watching right now.
Yeah,
how's it going,
I
Main
hope so.
Surveyor?
They can come and talk whenever.
Along the canal. Let's just use a mile.
Can you make it fully right? Because although you may have heard me talking to Mr. Sensible, the other people listening, they might not have heard what I said to Mr. Sensible. So,
well, I'm not going to present your entire thesis for it, but you said that you were running a level run.
Are we talking about my test now, or are we still on that initial question?
I'm using your words with Mr. Sensible as an example.
Okay. So can we talk about the test in a minute then?
I would like to finish what I'm saying right now. So let's just say you have a level run going a mile. To determine if you are accurately transferring that elevation, you should also run the traverse down that canal with a total station.
No, you just close the loop and go back to the beginning, right? That's what you do.
But you want to check and see that you've done correctly.
Yeah, you just do it multiple times and return the loop to close the loop at the end, right?
Try it again with another piece of equipment.
Well,
compare the two methods.
Yeah, you could do it 100 times with the same piece of equipment as well, couldn't you? Constantly getting more accurate every time. Try it with different bits of equipment. Get different people to try it with different bits of equipment. Yeah.
And then try it again with sub-centimeter survey grade GPS.
You'd try it with all sorts, couldn't you?
Compare all the methods.
Yep. To establish a horizontal.
That doesn't establish a horizontal.
No, that's what the surveying techniques would be doing, right? You would be establishing a horizontal frame of reference, right? That's what the surveyors do, right?
At that point where the auto level sits, that establishes a horizontal
No,
plane.
you take a
That is horizontal to
benchmark
that
from one
vertical,
end,
that-
and you transverse it as a horizontal plane to make your benchmark at the other end, right? So you find a known benchmark, and then you move that to an unknown to make the unknown known. Yeah?
Let's suppose you have a benchmark at one end of your mile.
Yep.
And let's just say the elevation is 100 feet.
I don't know whether this is the right recording or not. So we're banging a post in at the side of the canal. Let's say 1 meter. And we just put a mark on it.
A meter from the canal, or a meter above the water.
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? We're just
I'm
banging a post in. We're putting a mark on it. That's it. And then we are going to say that is our mark. That's just the mark. What we're going to do. We're going to transfer that mark onto another post, one at half mile, and then one at the full mile again. So,
in that case, you are transferring an elevation. You're not transferring a horizontal line.
But that's the tools is a horizontal, right? The auto level that we are going to use to transfer that thing through differential leveling techniques, right? That would just transfer the horizontal mark from in the middle point and the end point, right?
You're transferring an elevation. You're not drawing a horizontal line.
Yeah, it's a horizontal.
No. From end to end, it is not horizontal.
Yes, it is.
No, from one end of the mile to the other end is not a horizontal
Are you saying an auto level would not establish a horizontal?
I'm saying that differential leveling techniques done properly will account for curvature automatically. I'm saying that differential leveling techniques done properly will account for curvature automatically when you keep the foresight and the backsight relatively short and equal through the entire level run.
Right. Well, we are asking these people, these surveyors, to make a horizontal line, right? Particularly, we're not saying level. We're not saying curved. We're not saying anything. We are particularly saying a horizontal line of reference. You say that's not possible.
Surveyors to transfer elevation.
Sorry?
You're asking a surveyor to transfer an elevation when he uses or she
what
uses
is your understanding of elevation then? Is it's a vertical distance above the mean sea level, right? Mean sea level being your reference datum.
It could be any vertical datum you want. It could be a made-up datum if you want. If you wanted to say that
that's
the
like
ground
I just said that I put a make-up mark on the side of the post, right? And then you're saying no, that's different in elevation. So I'm just establishing now the canal that has the water level within it at the side of where we've put this post has an elevation, right? Now that elevation, let's say it's 50 feet, right? It's 50 feet as a vertical distance above that mean sea level, right? That's what it is. It's established. They established the mean sea level at a place.
I don't know if it's above the mean sea level or not. It's just a number.
That's what they do in the UK. I mean, well, I can only speak for the UK.
What's the name of the datum that they use in the UK?
Sorry?
What's the name of the vertical datum they use in the
Gotcha.
UK?
He's trying to pull a gotcha there.
You see that? Yeah. Well done. It's like just swapping it to something completely different right now. All I was going off was what that initial guy had said. You know, elevation, it's just a vertical change. The difference between the slope, the run, and the height is just a difference between the two.
Oh, yeah.
Very simple at how to work, but they're struggling, aren't they, with the elevation question?
Yeah. Hey, there's a guy named Plague Zero in your YouTube chat. He's wondering if he can get a wrench.
I've given him his. I've already done it, I think.
Okay.
Cheers, Bev. Thanks, Chloe.
Take your spanner for a run. See whether it works.
That's cool.
Mean sea level, don't it? It's down at Newby now.
There's an actual.
It used
there's an
to
actual
be.
name.
It used
there's an
to
actual
be,
name for it.
Well, it's the 0 mark, right?
No, there's a name for the vertical
but that
datum
is
in the
where
UK.
they zero elevation. Yeah, what he's doing. He's trying to put a name to that, but it's just 0.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll notice these globe model believers will like to try and complicate things when there's no need to complicate them, because 0 and a vertical change. I mean, it's nothing
They're just
hard
there
about that.
to try to make you look like you don't know something. I mean, it's just stupid. They're trying to just distract.
Bev, there's a name for it. Could you tell us the name for it, please?
It's the datum, the 0 datum. The
there's a name
mean
for
sea
this.
level at Newby in the UK.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. In the United States, they use NAVD 88. That's a common one.
That's your geoid, right? That's your geoid model. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the
Stop interrupting me and
mean
listen.
sea level.
Stop interrupting and listen, Bev. This is the vertical datum that's used in the United States. Okay, what's the name of the vertical datum that's used in the UK? Just one of them, maybe. There's probably a bunch.
No.
Okay, so you're talking without knowing what you're talking about.
I'm telling you, I can tell you where it is established and where it was established. It used to be in Liverpool. They've now moved it to Newby.
I'll look it up for you. I'll look it up, and then in the future you could actually be informed about it. But go ahead, you two, keep going while I do this for you.
So Bev, if you have
it's a vertical height above that datum, right? That 50
That's the datum you're referencing.
Yeah.
If that's the datum you're referencing.
Well, when it says on the maps 50 feet, right, it means 50 feet elevation as a vertical distance above that mean sea level, right? That's what it means.
So you're trying to
just
make a
getting you to
50-foot
confirm.
elevation mark at the other end of the mile.
Elevation that you read on maps everywhere is a vertical distance above the mean sea level, which it would be a 0. That's your 0 datum, right? That's why it's 50 odd feet or 50 feet. It means 50 feet above the 0. They establish a 0 somewhere, right?
Yes.
And when you read elevation, it is a vertical height above that datum.
Right.
Okay, so elevation now, right? That took a while, right? That took a long time for him to say, yes, it is just a vertical height above that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with your definition too. A vertical datum or height datum is a reference surface for vertical positions such as Great Britain. National Vertical Datum Ordnance Datum Newland is based on what was mean sea level at Newland and Cornwall.
Yeah. Newby, is it?
Yeah, I don't know, something like, it was 0. It's sea level. That's all it.
Yeah,
they call it an ordnance.
Yeah, it's a mean average, isn't it? Yeah.
He asked you for it, but didn't even know it himself. He had to go look it up.
Sure.
But I don't think he even comes back with it.
He never did.
Yeah, because they in the UK, I don't think we have one like you guys have.
No, it's just the ordnance datum, vertical datum. It's a 0, like you said, sea level.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so the same people who make the maps and the grid reference system are the ones that set the sea level as well.
Yeah.
Easy, really.
That's a horizontal. Right? Do you say that is a horizontal or not?
You're saying what
initial
what is
datum, the datum that you use is a horizontal datum.
No.
Okay, so when I see 50 feet elevation, I see it's a 50 feet vertical distance above a horizontal, because the vertical means you establish a horizontal, a flat base, and then measure perpendicularly from that horizontal to your other one, and that's where your line is, right? So
Bev, like I said before, the main surveyor is a surveyor, so you don't tell him what to do. It's best for you
I'm
to
not
just
telling
ask,
him
how do you
what
do
to
it?
Do you see that? He's getting very defensive, isn't he? McToons, the main surveyor is a surveyor. Because he says it in his name. He's wrote it in his name. No, I'm not asking him what to do. I'm just
hold on,
telling
let me
him.
finish my sentence before you interject. Well, how about you ask him what they do, and then he can tell you what surveyors actually do.
He doesn't seem to know, though, McToons.
Oh, he absolutely does. You're very confused about it, though, and you're trying to interject what you imagine he does into it.
We're
So
on
you should
elevation
listen
now, then, right?
And learn. If you learn, then you might progress.
Have you given me enough time yet, or not?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So, are you going to answer that then? Elevation. It is a vertical height above the datum.
It's a height above the datum. I'll agree with that, but the datum is not horizontal in the ones that
It's a vertical height, though, right? That's what you measure. When you measure with your measuring rod, you are measuring a vertical. It's no good if you was wandering. Hey?
Did he just say the datum is not horizontal?
He can't assign anything to it. He can't. It's a point. I think that's as accurate as he can be. The datum.
Seems confused about what a vertical and horizontal datum is.
Yeah.
Really confused.
Well, that's why I say I'm not so sure. Well, personally, I don't think he's a surveyor.
That one thing right there was just like, what? Yeah.
Likes to obfuscate whenever he can, so he'll think of anything.
Yeah. I think a proper surveyor would be able to answer questions quite easily. I mean, this is very basic stuff, talking about elevation and horizontal. Like, should be bread and butter for any surveyor to talk about this sort of stuff. About, right? Right, it has to be vertical, that, doesn't it? Whenever you look through an auto level or whatever, over your 30 meters, right, that measuring rod needs to be vertical, right?
The rod guy needs to be rocking the rod back and forth.
Yeah, and you take the minimum distance, right?
Correct.
And then you know that's in the vertical position.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Oh, he's very careful.
So that is a vertical elevation change when you have an elevation change, right?
You're reading the height of the crosshair above the ground where the rod is.
Brilliant. So we come back to the question that we initially started with, right? Is you imagine elevation to be a curve. I say it is a horizontal datum.
I don't actually imagine it to be a curve. It is a curve.
Okay, well, there's a difference then, right? There's a difference between a curve and a straight.
You mean a plane?
So Bev, I'm gonna save some time right now. I'm gonna ask you, what are your surveying textbooks that you had in your qualification class?
I'm going to save some time, right? So that's on the list, and he's just jumping straight ahead to it. He's, like
education. It's a fallacy.
No, I think he's got a list in front of him that what to do. You have to obfuscate these points. Don't talk about this. Don't do that, and make sure you ask Bev about his surveying textbooks from when 20 odd years ago when he was doing this surveying course he did. Because of course everybody should have their surveying textbooks from school. I mean, you must have yours still, surely, if you've ever done anything in school ever.
I guess he's in school right now. I don't. That doesn't seem like something you'd be doing.
Yeah, appeal to accomplishment. Since you haven't done this, therefore this.
Yeah, textbooks. Here we go. This
it doesn't take them long to start reflecting.
No.
You don't know.
I don't have the.
What surveying textbooks do you have in your house?
I don't have any surveying textbooks in my house. No.
Where are you getting?
You've put pictures of textbooks on Twitter in the past. Did you sell them or burn them?
Sorry,
I've seen pictures on Twitter that you posted of books that are in your house on surveying. Have you burned them because you didn't like them, or did you get rid of them since you put those pictures on?
Did you burn your
geodetic survey? Yeah, I've got the geological survey of the United Kingdom and another one of, I think, Burnley coalfields. I just for think, but they're not textbooks. They're just books, right? They wrote like I don't know, like autobiographies of different people and what they did within the.
You know what he's actually referring to? He's referring to your Euclidean geometry book. He thought it was a surveying book. I think later on they get a little confused about what they're talking about.
You think? No, I think they're talking about his surveying books that say level is curved in it. He's got a couple, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any of those surveying books from school.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what he was asking about.
No, that's not a book on surveying, is it? It's not a textbook on surveying. Come on, Toons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bev, I have in front of me Elementary Surveying, 7th edition.
Brilliant.
And it says, datum, any level surface to which elevations are referred. For example, mean sea level. You're going to love this. Also called a datum plane.
I don't know. You broke up then. Did he break up for you as well?
Nope, he was perfpally clear to me.
Okay, brilliant.
Just
yeah, he definitely broke up for me, right? I didn't hear what he said.
Laughing with that fake laugh.
So I don't know what he said, but I think we might get it.
No,
back
he's going to
again.
say it again. This is good. You need to hear it.
Yeah. So datum, any level surface to which elevations are referred. For example, means sea level. You're going to love this part. Listen up carefully. Also called a datum plane, though not actually a plane.
Okay. You like that? Called a datum plane, but not actually a plane.
I hate that word, datum. I like
Bev.
Yeah.
Did he add that bit on the end?
I don't know. I mean, like he just, I don't know. The stream wasn't working. He didn't go on screen, and there was nothing there. So he's just saying that. But yeah, I mean, like, how can you have a mathematical description of something saying it's a plane, and then right after it saying, but it's not actually that?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's just ridiculous. It sounds like he's expressing opinion there. He's added to that, but I could be wrong.
Well, no, I mean, that could probably be in the book as well, just to confuse people, right? I mean, that's the idea. When we're into this realm here, I think that's what you're into. You're into obfuscation, and because that's all you've got. And he's right into it at the minute. It's shocking. I don't. Carry on.
And it has this nice graphic that goes with it that shows mean sea level as an example of a datum, and it shows it as an arc. You explain to me how an arc is horizontal, because you seem to think that mean sea level is horizontal. But here is a surveying textbook, Bev, that explains the principle on which surveyors actually operate every day. Explain that's a curve, explaining curvature corrections that must be used, and you are saying it means horizontal. You are wrong, Bev. That's not how surveying works.
Right. Well,
that was a declaration there.
You know my test. If you seen that, you think you got a little bit heated there. I sort of heard a little bit of stress.
You are wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His voice was definitely cracking in places there, wasn't it?
Test, yeah.
I'm not going to say it. Was he crying when he said
that? I didn't want to go as far as crying.
Where you're transferring elevation?
Yeah. No, with the water level, right? The whole test. Not just a little tiny bit of it, the whole thing.
So how have you established the difference between the results you'd expect on a sphere and on a planar horizontal water level that you think it is?
Like we were talking about before.
That's a good question.
Step one.
I have just a second, Bev. I think this is a great thing. What if you tell us what you expect, basically tell us the hypothesis. What do you expect to see if the Earth is flat? And then we can tell you what we'd expect to see if the Earth is a sphere.
Are they talking about Kozlowski's failure?
I think if you listen to the way he's setting it up, he's like, you tell me what it's like if the Earth is flat, and we'll tell you what it's like, on our side. So you play flat earther, and I'll be the glober. I think that's what he's saying, and I don't think it works.
Because we both know our own models the best, right? So how about you tell us what do you expect if you do your water level?
I've got a model.
You don't have a model?
No, I don't
have
have
a
a
model.
model. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I have a model of my water
That's
level.
and that's a problem.
I have a model of my water level test,
that's
right?
a problem. But so here's the deal. You tell me what you expect to see if the Earth is flat, and then we'll tell you what we expect to see if the Earth is a sphere.
Isn't
so, go ahead.
flat, McToon.
So
there is topography. Surveying, right, means that the Earth isn't flat. You measure topography. Ask your guy that's pretending to be a surveyor, right? That's not flat, is it?
Hold on. Let's be clear. Bev, would you...
Nice one,
Bev. Like that.
Yeah. Just slip it into the conversation like it's nothing.
I forgot you said that.
Yeah. Your guy that's
You're going
pretending to be a surveyor.
Just say clearly right now that the main surveyor is lying about being a surveyor.
I'm going to say that the surveyors would measure topography. Now that is a change.
Well, are you going to say
elevation
or stop saying that the main surveyor is
I don't know. He'd
surveyor
have to
or
prove
not?
that he's a surveyor, wouldn't
surveyor?
He would, in order for that, I would need to know
let's
he
just
is a
ask him.
surveyor.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Main surveyor, are you a licensed geodetic surveyor in the state of Maine?
I am a licensed professional surveyor in the state of Maine.
Well, that settles it.
Are you bound by any ethical code or anything of surveyors?
Oh, you like to ask that question, don't you?
That's the first time I've ever asked it, to be honest.
Actually, Bev, you've asked it to me on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, you never answered, did you?
I actually did answer, Bev.
I can't remember. Just remind us.
We have a standards of practice which we must follow.
Yep. Code of ethics, to be honest, to the public and represent your trade.
In Maine statute, it is called a standards of practice.
Okay. And you would be bound by that, right?
When performing my professional duties.
Okay. And are you performing your professional duties at the moment?
I am representing the profession of surveying at the moment as an individual.
Okay.
That's coming through in stereo now.
So, I put that in.
Oh, did he?
Just a clip, yeah. He is representing the profession of surveying. At the moment, now, this man that is here that is saying level isn't horizontal is personally representing the profession of surveying.
That then presents them with a problem, does it not?
I would say so, but I mean that's up to the other surveyors to decide, right? I mean, I've only ever done a bit of training on it and developed a test to show that level is horizontal. I mean, all of the other surveyors have agreed that level is horizontal. I mean, there's only a couple.
And that guy from the Institute, what was the beginning one? The short video.
Illinois surveyors.
Illinois,
yeah.
He seemed more than under the impression that level and horizontal are the same thing.
He used the word or in the middle of the two, didn't he? Level or horizontal.
Yeah. So that is a distinction between the two.
You know, we never got to get into the tilt, you know, that Belu taught Kozlowski and he taught the main surveyor. We never got into that, unfortunately.
Oh, well, Jesse will come and explain. Jesse's going to have to come and have a chat about this thing, surely, isn't he?
Oh, yeah,
he's got
definitely.
To explain
There's no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, he's Jeff's mentor.
He's able to ask him directly what Belu said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to go to the top on that one. Hey, Brad, the science guy popped in here. Brad, we're kind of, I don't know, we're in the middle of something, but it's up to Beth.
Well, keep on with this. They've got about an hour or so of this left yet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We do our test and we establish, first of all, step one would be to establish a horizontal line. Now, can surveyors do that? Over a mile.
So listen, we could establish a horizontal line.
Yeah.
The ground will tend to drop away underneath that horizontal line eventually, assuming that the topography is consistent.
Okay, so
like
like say along your along your canal, along your canal. If we were to establish a horizontal line at one end and make that horizontal line stay horizontal to that point where it began, then the ground will drop away underneath it eventually.
Okay, so we establish that horizontal and we make it go past the half-mile mark and all the way to a mile mark. So we have one horizontal line across 3 posts. Can a surveyor do that?
If that's what you want the surveyor to establish, the surveyor could establish that.
Brilliant.
But it's not the same as transferring an elevation.
Brilliant. But that can be done, right? So that can be done.
Yeah, you got him right here, man.
Yeah.
He never saw it coming. He wasn't prepared for this, but you know.
Horizontal and elevation, right? In his mind, they're the same thing, but now he's struggling, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You have to separate the two. It's a bit difficult. 3 posts, one at a mile, one at a half mile, and one at the other end, right? All with marks on them that will be on the same horizontal.
But different elevation.
Well, just the same horizontal, right? That's all we're interested in.
But the elevation would have to be different.
Yeah, I don't know whether they'd be bothered about telling me that we were a different elevation or anything. So it can be done. They can put 3 marks on them posts, right?
They'll all be a different elevation.
Well, they would be on a horizontal, though. What's that?
I love the fact that he says that.
He has to keep saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has to. That's all we're bothered about, right?
The surface of the Earth is curved. Therefore, 50 feet at the beginning
horizontal, though, can't you?
Will not be 50 feet at the end of the mile.
You can have a horizontal, though. That it is possible for surveyors to establish a horizontal over a mile.
Why would you want the surveyor to do that?
Because that's part of the test. You hear that? Why would you want the surveyor to do that?
Yeah, this is where he just harps on the why instead of if it can be.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to.
That blew my mind when he asked.
Yeah,
isn't that what surveyors do?
Yeah, but that's the test as well, right? His surveyor mentor has said that the water level drops away from the horizontal, so
the level surface drops down from the horizontal plane at a rate of 8 inches times the distance in miles squared.
Why would we want a horizontal? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a paradox. If it drops away from the horizontal, then how can you say horizontal drop? Or rise or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference between the horizontal and level. Only a model driven, surely.
What are you testing in your test?
We just the level and horizontal, right? Is there a connection between the two?
You're testing definitions. That's
No,
not
no,
how
no.
we test definitions.
No, this is a practical
You start
test,
with the
right?
You start with the right definition first.
Practical. This is a practical test. In reality, we've just established that surveyors, like your profession, supposedly, right? Your friends can establish a horizontal over a 1 mile distance.
Bev, do you think that 50 feet in elevation at the start of the mile is going to be 50 feet and horizontal at the end of the mile?
Do I think that?
I'm asking you that.
Yeah, I probably do. Yeah, let's say yes. I imagine that if there is no change in elevation, that means it is a horizontal. Yes, that's what I imagine. Or, in fact, I know it.
So here's
you know it.
Yeah. The test.
Let's
Can we go back to the test? Yeah, I'll say that again. I can prove it logically many ways, as most of the people here on this server can. Geometrically, I mean, it's provable because it's perpendicular. You can't get around that. And there's plenty of axioms and postulates and propositions within Euclidean geometry that prove it geometrically. And we have a test that employs all of that geometry and that logic to prove it practically. So, 3 different ways. Although they're all the same sort of thing. It's all based on logic. But, yeah. I'd say that.
The main surveyor said he can establish a horizontal plane, and he said it would deviate away from a ball. I love that.
You scared of it?
Let me do this, Bev. Let me explain, and you you listen. Get your ears up here. The wolf. The ears are up. The mouth is shut. Okay.
He's throwing his gang signs.
On the surface. That's a wolf.
Oh, right. Is that wolf pack? Are you bringing the wolf pack out in your chat?
Mouth shut. The mouth is shut. Ears are up. Okay.
Is that what the wolves do?
On the surface.
Yeah, go on.
Brad, you've got a hot mic, mate. Oh, my life. How condescending is he being?
Well, I think they've swapped into the different game now, right? I mean, I think they've just realised that they can't keep playing the reality game. They're going to have to start probably calling me a flat earther, I would imagine.
Well, they're starting that by trying to belittle you.
Yeah.
And talking to you like a 4-year-old. Well, I personally wouldn't even talk to a 4-year-old like that in that condescending manner. It is just pathetic.
Surface of a sphere.
Okay.
You can the plane
the
that
3-dimensional surface of a sphere.
The plane that is orthogonal to the plumb line is level at that point of the plumb line. Okay, that horizontal plane is a unique sphere. Yes, honestly, that was the first thing I said.
Yeah.
Mouth shut, ears up. Okay. So I'll back it up again. Right, and then I'll explain it again since you missed the first thing. On the surface of a sphere, the plane that is orthogonal to the plumb line is horizontal. That plane is unique for every single point on the sphere. All right, so horizontal is a plane, level is the curved surface. Right, now what is can you talk about level and horizontal on a flat surface? I'll let you explain that since it's your claim.
No, we talk about my test. Did you hear that then? He explained it that horizontal was a plane and level was a curved surface, and then he tried to get me to talk about level and horizontal on a flat surface, as though you can have different levels on different surfaces. I mean, I think that's quite a clever little trick he performed there. Because if I'd have answered that, like that. I mean, I don't know whether I did or not, but if I had have answered it, I would have been like playing into his imagination that there are in fact two different levels depending on what sort of a surface you imagine. We've established the horizontal, right?
No. We're just covering the math, the geometry part of it here. Okay. And so what is your
which sort of geometry
your
we
understanding of?
We're using Euclidean geometry.
We're using geometry.
Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. What would you expect to see on the surface of a flat surface? What's orthogonal to the plumb line?
I mean perpendicular.
Orthogonal is a 3-dimensional. Perpendicular is 2-dimensional.
Perpendicular is 3-dimensional, right?
Say that again.
Perpendicular is 3-dimensional, right?
Orthogonal is.
See, perpendicular to a vertical would be in all directions at the bottom. That's why it's a plane, because the vertical is a straight line, and then you can put the perpendicular on that straight line in 360 degrees. It goes, the horizontal is a plane, whereas the vertical is a straight line. I mean, that works in your head when you think of it, right? Because whenever you think of a vertical, you think of a plumb bob. But whenever you think of a level, you think of a level plane. You know, a flat 2-dimensional surface is the level. And the perpendicular is the straight line. 2 straight lines, but the horizontal line at the bottom can be in any direction as long as it's perpendicular. So you can't really say perpendicular is 2-dimensional, can you? Seeing as a vertical is a straight line. No, perpendicular is 3-dimensional. So when you say perpendicular, the definition of that would come from Euclidean geometry, right?
Okay, so get to it. I'm listening.
So it's defined within Euclidean geometry, and that is 2 straight lines. So you would say that the plumb line is a vertical, and the right angle to it is horizontal, right? Perpendicular to the vertical is horizontal. But your sort of orthogonal works the same as well, doesn't it? Same thing.
Are vertical and horizontal defined in Euclid's book there?
They're defined as being perpendicular, right?
Excuse me, I'm asking, are the words vertical and horizontal defined?
But they are defined as being perpendicular. Now that is definitely Euclidean definition. 2 straight lines, perpendicular.
Bev, would you be interested to know what the definition of a level surface is in surveying?
Did you like that? Do you think they lost that one then? Perpendicular argument within Euclidean geometry?
I certainly think so, because he just wanted to change subjects so quick.
Yeah, they go back to the book. I just want to see that level is.
Well, the perpendicular is, they don't go back to it. But the fact that the perpendicular is 2 straight lines kills any notion of curvature and the perpendicular. Because you can't have a perpendicular to a curve because 2 straight lines are needed. Remember that one. That's they don't go back to it, but no doubt we will at some point be going back to that perpendicular with someone.
But even within the definition of orthogonal, it says perpendicular, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So why did he even? I guess that's the magic trick. I guess they try to pull.
Yeah. There's an easy understanding of perpendicular, and that's wrote down as 2 straight lines. So you can't use that. You have to magic another word to change that belief of the understanding of the word. It's spell casting. They're trying to do wizardry. The magic is not powerful enough.
Those books are crazy wizardry, man. Refraction, all this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense.
We have geometry to help us. You'll probably tell me, but I mean, go back to the test, right? The test would have a horizontal. We'd have 3 points on 3 posts that are marked as horizontal. Then what we do is the next part, right, is really easy. You just get some hose pipe, right? And you lay it down by the side of these posts. Yeah, that's easy enough, right?
I'm listening.
And we put vials on the end of them, so we effectively turn this water level big long tube. That we'll put a T-junction in the middle of it as well, so we can put it up against each of these posts with the vial, strap them around it, and then we can fill that water level up, can't we?
So are you establishing a horizontal line across that distance, horizontal to the beginning, or are you establishing an elevation, the same elevation?
The surveyors did the horizontal at the beginning. Right, he's just asked me if we're establishing a horizontal. Now, call me stupid, but I mean, has anyone noticed that we were talking about horizontal earlier?
It's pretty much the whole subject matter of the conversation, really, isn't it?
How could I hate to say surveyor, right? Because I'm not so sure, but you'd have to be a bit absent-minded to know to not know at the minute that we've been trying to set a horizontal over 3 posts.
Yeah, considering that was what was outlined at the beginning of the conversation.
The test, and we've only been going over it for like a year with this man on Twitter. So, yeah.
Absent-minded is a bit of an understatement there, Bev.
Right? They made 3 marks that were horizontal on 3 posts. They did that.
Who's they?
The surveyors that established the horizontal. That's what we just decided before, right? You remember?
So you're gonna hire some surveyors to come do this?
Yeah, why not? Like
so
professionals.
You're gonna put in 3 posts, and you're gonna say, okay, start at this post, and I want you to use a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
And mark with the horizontal plane that's perpendicular to the plumb line, right?
Yep.
Or orthogonal is the better word. Yep. So from post
establish
1,
that horizontal all
2,
the way across.
to post 3. Right?
No, a horizontal. I'm saying horizontal. The same horizontal.
So
right?
Now, are you saying horizontal, or are you saying you want the same elevation at each thing?
Yeah, that's.
I said horizontal 4 times in the row then for this man, and he's now asking me if I mean horizontal or elevation. Do you think they've got something on that little book in front of them that tells them they have to swap the conversation from one thing to another to try and get me to confuse myself about what I'm talking about? It's
they're always going to pull it back to that plumb. They're always going to pull it back to that plumb line because that gives them their out.
Well,
I mean, like in that first video with the Illinois surveyor, he mentions gravity.
Yeah.
And if I was playing devil's advocate, I would say, well, right there, I mean, he's telling you he's setting it by gravity. So that gives them their perpendicular to plumb based on pointing to the center. You know what I'm saying? They have to pull it. They have to pull it back to that because that gives them their out.
Yeah, but like in their minds, I mean, the more you look into this, it's bendizontal that they're talking about there. That's a curve underneath, and you can't have a perpendicular to a curve. There's only 2 straight lines.
I totally
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's good. Gives us a chance to explain it, though, right? It'll only come clearer in other people's minds once they've gone through it a bit and tried to get some sort of geometry and how to imagine all of this stuff. But yeah, there's definitely something that's going on in their minds here with elevation and horizontal. They have to make a difference between the two, but I mean, how do you do that? I would imagine that's quite difficult, right? I mean, that's the pressure that they're under at the minute, is they have to separate these things. Just as they have to separate level from horizontal, they have to separate horizontal from elevation also.
Right.
And this is them struggling to do such. Do you want me to just say it again? I will confirm. We want a horizontal, right? That is
so you're accounting
for
curvature then.
Straight line.
A flat plane. Okay, so when you do that, if you say those words to the surveyors and don't try to confuse them by telling them you want elevation,
it would confuse
then,
anybody.
Then,
do you think
then you're
surveyors
going
would
to
be
have
confused?
Oh, by you, absolutely, because you're, yeah. So what's going to happen then is you're
now. I'd find that a bit demeaning if I was a surveyor. Sorry, but McToons here, who isn't a surveyor and doesn't even claim to be a surveyor, claims that a surveyor would be confused at me asking them to do a horizontal. That's I presume that's just in his mind, but I mean,
do you know, I think they're so focused on insulting you at this point, in dragging you down as a person, Bev, that they don't realise that they're insulting the surveying trade. They're bringing the surveying profession down.
Well, I mean, only if the surveyors agree with us. I mean, I don't know. The surveyors might agree with them.
There is that possibility, but you know, we can't determine that until
we have a chat with a few surveyors. I mean,
and established our horizontal plane, and
well, we have talked to surveyors, but I mean, like that's for us to know, right? I would advise everybody, if you're listening to this and you're unsure, find a surveyor, but like obviously not one of these surveyors that want to obfuscate things and want that pretend to be surveyors like McToons. Phone up your local surveyors and ask them any of these questions that you want to ask them about this. Please do.
Put your mark right here, right? You got the pen. You put your mark on the first one. Here's what the surveyors are going to do. You go to the next one. It's going to be higher.
What, the horizontal?
And you go to the
higher.
Yeah, you go to the final one.
Yeah.
It's going to be even higher still.
No, we're just doing a horizontal. What do you mean higher? How can it be higher? Higher than what?
Because the surface higher in relation to the canal that it's next to, right? So you're going to go and you're going to measure.
No, we do. See, forget about the canal. Forget about the canal. We are just
but you're doing it next to a canal for a reason.
Horizontal, right?
Yeah, and according to every surveyor in the world, the first one you'll have a certain elevation. The next one, the elevation is going to be higher for that.
So when we come back again,
plane.
What would happen when we come back again to check the horizontal? Right?
You were saying they.
Well, I can do this after them, can't I?
Are you
saying I can't have a go at this? Me and my lads, we're not allowed to.
Trying to make sure you get your pronouns right. Is it they or
trying to get I am the pronouns? I mean, that's the most important thing, isn't it, when you're doing your surveying?
Especially when he's backed into a corner the way he is at this moment. He's only going to focus on your pronouns.
You said we. You said we.
We.
Yeah.
Instead of they.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are out on the canal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's another one. we can do it afterwards. We can do it before. We can do it during.
Well, you've been doing it before, haven't you? So for you to use "we" is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Because you, as in you and your lads, you've been going out.
And when we do the test, obviously, everyone that comes can have a go at establishing this horizontal from one end to the other, just to check for themselves.
Would that "we" include me?
Yeah, of course it would.
So it would be a me "we."
Yeah, just get your pronouns right. They and them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that wants to come, you can be involved in the "we" as well. Especially Flat Tan and his mate, they can be part of the "we."
Are you gonna go, DP? Do you live next to Bev?
Oh, I don't live next to Bev, but
you can. It's UK, so you can just drive there.
It's just round the corner. It's like living next door to each other.
We're all neighbours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or are you part of this "we" doing this measuring?
I will definitely be measuring this. Well, me and the lads, we're going to be doing surveying. Yes, we have an auto level. We do this sort of stuff. Yes. So, but let's say the surveyors, right? The surveyors are establishing a horizontal. Now they establish it all the way across from one end to the other, and then they go back again to make sure it is all the same horizontal.
I need clarification here. I want to make sure I'm not assuming anything about what you're doing. You asked a professional surveyor to establish a horizontal line across a mile. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, on the posts. I've explained it, just like I've explained it to you. 3 posts.
And the surveyor is not just going to transfer the same elevation across the mile. You're asking them to transfer a horizontal line across a mile.
They've never been like you are at the minute. You seem to be a different sort of surveyor than we've ever encountered before. Are you sure? Are you sure that's correct? Right, because surveyors can establish a horizontal, right? You seem to be struggling to understand that.
Why would you want them to, Bev?
Because
why would you want them to?
Why would I want? Why? Who was the laugh? Was that McToons or was it any of you lot?
Yeah.
That sounded like a nervous laugh, right?
That was McToon.
Why would you want them to? Is the first time that he comes up with. I mean, that's fantastic. This is a claimed surveyor. After, I don't know what that, it's about half an hour in that there. We've been trying to establish a horizontal over 3 marks, talking about a horizontal, and now he's just said, why would you want to? Want them to establish a horizontal? Why would I want the surveyors to use a tool to establish a horizontal over a mile? Because I've got a test, a water level test, right? And
you're designing it to be inconclusive or to be a total failure.
All we've done is establish so far that we've got 3 marks on a post that are horizontal. Now we've laid some water levels at the side of it, and you've gone all funny, and now we're going back to you don't seem to think you can do horizontal. Establish a horizontal anymore.
Bev, you're confused because you think that you could measure to prove a definition when you're using the wrong procedure to find out if the water is curving or not.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's that
curving.
What? Yeah,
Isn't that what you want to know, Bev?
People have.
Isn't that what we want to know? Perfect chance, I thought, for this to slap in a little bit of logic.
Jackasses. Sorry.
Yeah. If the Earth is a spherical object, P, then the surface of liquid water must curve, Q.
90 P's and Q's.
Yeah. And Emma's well checked that one out. It's perfect. It's been checked out by everyone, really. The consequent and the antecedent have been given the seal of approval from Emma UK.
Perfect.
So what we say that once that's finished, we then say, because it's been set up for a modus tollens, and we can say that the water level is a tool to establish a horizontal plane, which is what the purpose of the tool is. A level establishes a horizontal plane. So to establish if the surface of liquid water is curved, yeah, that's what this test is there for. It was put to us, and we've developed this test. Pretty simple.
I've measured the surface of water to be curved.
Who?
Already.
Who is that?
Well, the person you're talking to, not me. The other guy you're talking to right now has done that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's measured the curvature of the water level. This is the board we've got working out, and as you can see, Jeff here, he's got the most names. So this is the Globe Model Defender's source of information on level curvature, and Jeff is winning at the minute. Calls for any other Globe Earth defenders. If you've heard of anyone that has measured the curvature of a level, give us a shout. There's only these few people. As you can see, Soundly's not really got anybody there yet, but I know somebody's claimed
new
Soundly.
entry with George yesterday. Was that yesterday?
No, we didn't. No, George.
No, he didn't make it.
No, that's God Scalpel's leading the charge for George, but nobody's given George as an source of
a sacrificial lamb. I think the word you're looking for there.
But yeah. So Jeff's got the most of these. So the most weight of all of the people, at least the ones that we've talked to at the minute for sources of curvature, they're citing Jeff. Jeff's the man. So, I mean, he's not really doing much to show that he knows much at the minute. You never know. He might come clean to the Globe Earthers, the Globe Model Believers. Sorry.
The water.
So Bev, we're not going to play the game
water
of
level, right?
Whether you're talking about the water level device
just a
or
second
the
here.
surface of water, because that's nonsense.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean.
Well,
you like the word games.
You know, Jess thinks there's a word game between the water level, the tool, and the water level. He thinks that's a semantic argument. I haven't got a clue what he's talking about. He said the other day, right, that the water level is measurably, it drops away from horizontal.
The level surface drops down from the horizontal plane at a rate of 8 inches times the distance in miles squared.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so surveyors, do you like the way I did that? Clipped it in there. That was
nice.
Jesse, that, for anybody that didn't notice. Jesse Kozlowski.
The one who's...
Yeah, his mentor.
Yeah.
He's not got as many people cited, Jesse, at the minute. Maybe because Jesse's disappeared. He's not, not around at the minute.
He's talking to Beaver.
Yeah. Tilt. See, that's where he's going wrong, perhaps, because there's no curvature in a tilt. And that's where the Beelu helped Jesse with the tilt. He might have steered him away from the curvature, so he's left Jeff.
Might have gone on a little commune together.
Can establish a horizontal, right?
But why would you want them to?
Maybe we might be checking what Jesse said, right? Because Jesse says it's measurable, right? So let's establish a horizontal. Now, can surveyors, professional surveyors, the ones that actually get paid to do a job, right? Can they establish a horizontal line over a mile?
We can. Why would you want us to?
Brilliant. So you could make 3 marks on these posts that are all on the same horizontal, right?
Those marks would be the projection of the horizontal line at one end of your mile, and they would be at different elevations.
Okay, so you couldn't do the same on the way back again then, is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a horizontal line and the elevation are two different
right. So
things.
okay, so if we go along this line and set a horizontal, and obviously when you are surveying, right, you have to close your loop to make sure you're for accuracy and error checks, right? So you close your loop and you want to establish a horizontal back again, right? Because it's a tool to establish a horizontal, right? That's what the tool is. An auto level, right? So you establish a horizontal one way, and then you come back to close your loop and establish a horizontal back again. Now, would you be getting like somewhere near 0? Or hopefully to be getting like somewhere near like a millimeter? I would, hopefully, anyway. What about you?
Well, Bev, you know, there is a difference between reading to the nearest millimeter and being millimeter accurate.
Nice obfuscation. What about the closing the loop question on the horizontal?
Oh yeah, you need to run the both directions.
Okay, so then we would check.
Differential leveling.
Yeah, we'd check then, wouldn't we? And we'd have 3 marks on these 3 posts, all on the same horizontal, right?
Bev, I'm not sure why you want to establish a horizontal line over a mile.
Can be done though, can't it?
You really want to just transfer the same elevation across the miles. What you want to do? They're 2 different things.
No, it's a horizontal, right? We want to establish
No.
No, gone even longer now, and now he's going. You sure? Nah, you don't want you don't want that. Nah.
Why is he running
Yeah.
so hard away from the answer to the question, which is obviously yes. Yes, surveyors can do exactly what you require, Beth.
Just a horizontal, straight line. Why are they so scared? Horizontal, yes. That's definitely. We want the surveyors to establish a horizontal.
I keep asking you why you want to establish a horizontal over a mile. Because you really want to be transferring an elevation, because Earth's surface is curved. You're testing to see if it's curved. You're going to have to start out.
Who's that?
That's Brad. I've just muted him. He's got mic discipline problems, so I just have to mute him. So, yeah, sorry, Bev, carry on.
With the same elevation at all 3 points. Not a horizontal line, it's horizontal at the beginning.
We need to be able to check that the water level surface, the one that Jesse Kozlowski, is he your mentor? Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse and Larry Scott are both my mentors, absolutely.
Okay, so Jesse says
we all
that
need
the
someone who has more
water
experience to
level
talk to.
can be measured dropping from horizontal.
The level surface drops down from the horizontal plane at a rate of 8 inches times the distance in miles squared.
So, I'm just getting to check that a surveyor can establish a horizontal over a mile. Then we can do is we put water levels up against these marks, this horizontal, and then we can fill it up.
And what do you expect to see?
Well, what would you expect to see? Because Jesse says it measurably drops away from the horizontal.
The level surface drops down from the horizontal plane at a rate of 8 inches times the distance in miles squared.
I need you to tell me what your prediction is.
I would
explain your test for you.
predict the water level being a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference would be exactly the same. In fact, I would say and hope that the water level would be more accurate than the auto level.
Do you think that these horizontal marks will be the same elevation across the mile?
We'd ask the surveyors to do it, so yeah, I would hope so. Are you saying once again that you don't think the surveyors could establish a horizontal?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm saying a horizontal and a consistent elevation are two different things.
So you keep saying
if you're extending a horizontal from the beginning of the mile, taking that line and extending it in the same orientation all the way down this mile, that's going to be different. That's going to be different.
It'd be a straight line, right?
The elevation at the beginning and the end.
A straight line.
Do you have a section of canal that is straight?
What, like we have it in between locks?
I didn't ask that. I asked.
You see that? He didn't ask that. He asked straight. And we've been talking about horizontal, which is the orientation in a different plane, right? It's it's an interesting little thing that they try and do here with this straight line.
Do you have a mile of straight canal?
Yeah. Why? What do you need a mile of straight canal for?
That you said that you have a straight mile of canal.
No,
so
I
I'm
didn't.
asking.
So I'm asking you why we need a mile of straight. We've got 27 miles in between locks, right? So that would be the same.
It's your test. It's your test. You tell me.
What am I telling you?
Don't make me explain. Don't make me explain your test to you. You explain your test to me.
Okay. So what we do is we get surveyors to come and establish 3 marks on 3 posts. One at the beginning, one at the half-mile mark, and one at the mile mark.
Yes, we've
We get
been
them
over that.
to establish a horizontal line on each of those posts, the same horizontal. Right, because it's definitely doable, that, isn't it, for surveyors?
So all right. To be clear, which horizontal are you going to go at? Because the horizontal point at the first marker, the middle marker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You notice the way McToons is coming in here now with the point horizontal, which is interesting that McToons is having to come in and talk to Jeff about this. This is would be basic principles of surveying geometry. Interesting that McToons thinks he's needed to come and save Jeff here. Very interesting to me, that.
How would McGoon think that he is more qualified to present an argument in this debate?
The horizontal point argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody
would
sent him a message or something, right? It's the only reason I can think of. Like, after all that time talking about a horizontal, we literally must be near an hour now we've been talking about that. I mean, we are stuck on the horizontal at the minute. And now he's saying it's only at a point. I don't know how you can talk to professionals about a horizontal line for so long and then end up with the McToons here doing the I don't know, we call this a rumpus. Let's see what you think.
Gibberish.
One of the edges,
Especially
or the middle one? Is it going to be the horizontal plane? One of the edges,
Especially
or the middle
one.
one? Is it going to be the horizontal plane? One of the edges,
Especially
or the middle
one.
one? Is it going to be the horizontal plane starting?
The horizontal. Well,
Yeah, which one is it?
It's
Is
a
it gonna be
plane, right?
reference
It's
to
the same
which
horizontal,
one?
isn't it?
This is a simple question. There's three posts. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And there's a mile
There's
between.
a horizontal
half mile
all
between.
the way across. The
There's-
same horizontal all the way
Right.
across.
There's the first one, the second one, the third one.
Yep.
There is the horizontal plane is for one of them. Which one?
What do you mean
1, 2,
the
or
horizontal
3?
plane's only for one?
Yeah.
No.
So when
the
you- when you
horizontal
give
plane will go
instructions-
through all 3.
Yes, of
I'll make
course. Now,
sure
when
the
you
surveyors
give
know that.
instructions-
The same
when you give instructions-
horizontal
hold on.
plane, yes.
Yes, when you give instructions to the surveyors,
Yep.
they're going to want to know which horizontal plane you want. The first
No, they're
one, the
not.
second one, or the third one.
No, they're not.
Of course they are. That's what they're going to do.
No, only... Okay. So, supposedly, once we've got the surveys, this is according to McToons. I mean, he's he's cut over Jeff when we're talking about this now. And now we've got 3 posts, and according to McToon here, we are going to have to inform the surveyors on which post we want the horizontal plane setting, because they're 3 different ones apparently. 3 completely different horizontals at a point on each of the posts, says McToon, the not surveyor, while he's speaking for Jeff, who is the supposed surveyor. I mean, he's got surveyor in his name. So, McToon's obviously much better at that.
I'm gonna say
only
you want,
people
you
with
want
a
horizontal
model
plane.
that think like that, think like you,
They
think
want,
like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So have you selected the surveying company that you're going to hire yet? What's the name
No.
of the company?
No.
No. You're not.
No,
you
I've
haven't
not.
yet?
No. Why would McToon want to know the name of the company?
Could that be so they can get in touch with them and poison the well with the surveying company?
How would they poison the well with the surveying company?
Well, just to get in touch with them and put them off getting involved or even talking.
Setting it to be, it looks like it's going to be an easy bit of cash in a minute.
Have you been like asking them and interviewing potential surveying companies? Yet?
Yeah, we've been
on
looking around at surveying companies. Yes, we have. Yeah.
Okay, and what?
We've
so
got
what's
a special
the
man on the job, and he's
what's the
very good at
expected
it.
budget? What's the expected budget you're going to have to spend? On?
Yeah, we do have a man phoning around. I mean, anybody can phone around as well. Phone the surveyors up and ask them some questions. We ask, if you can, record it and bring it to us.
At this point they're going into at the moment is like he's asking about expected budget.
Yeah.
What the hell has that got to do with anything?
Well, we've never see. This is what I think. They're so used to people doing GoFundMe's and all of that sort of stuff that because we've never asked anybody for anything, that I'm not so sure that they understand that it's a reality thing or not. Because I mean, we did say right at step 1, right at the very beginning, is that we don't want to be getting money off people to prove to people that aren't going to believe a word that you ever say. Something that they're not going to believe. So like, we don't think anybody should, from our side, the reality side, should need to fork out also for something that they already know is true. I mean, this is a personal. It's a personal thing, and we've never asked anybody for any money for any reason. We don't see why we should. We already know what we know as facts, and we can prove it geometrically and practically. So we're hoping to be able to get like a hire from a nice firm of hosepipe people. So it won't cost anything. Now, all of the tools, obviously, we've got cameras, already bought them. Nobody did a GoFundMe for any of that. We've got surveying tools. They're already there. We've got them. We have everything already ourselves, and we've funded everything so far ourselves.
The only thing we're missing, really, once we've got the hose pipe, is the water.
Yeah, and that's a pump. We can buy a pump for filling it up. I'll buy a pump.
Yeah.
So yeah, this costing thing, I don't know what it is or how they can do it or how they can do the funding or whatever sort of ideas they've got in their minds about it. But it's all irrelevant. Doesn't mean anything. Nobody's bothered about money apart from these people.
Yeah. So
to anybody.
To the professional surveying company that you're going to hire to do this.
Yeah, we do this for nothing. We don't ask anybody for any PayPal donations.
No,
or
I'm not
anything
asking
like
what you're asking. I'm asking what you're expecting to pay, because a professional surveying company is gonna charge you money. So what do you think they're going to charge you for this service?
For the service of establishing a horizontal. There.
It's just the service. They provide a service. How much are you expecting to pay for them to do this service for you?
I haven't got a clue yet. How much would you ask Jeff? Jeff, how much would you charge for establishing?
I don't know what the going rate is in.
How much would you charge for your going rate? Say it was somebody in down the street that wanted to do it.
I'm not sure. If it was a flat earther, I'm not sure. If it was a flat earther, I'm not sure. If it was a flat earther, if it was a flat earther, if it was a flat earther, or wait, you're not a flat earther.
No, not
you're
a flat earther. You have different charges, do you? Within your
a topographic earther.
You're a universal horizontal waterer.
Nice accent. I could not tell the difference. I thought
nice accent. Do you like that? Did he sound like me?
No.
It sounded quite. Yeah. I like
retarded.
That.
Is what he sounded like.
That was a man that was just said a bit earlier that he was representing the professional surveying industry, right? Yeah, I think that's what he said he was.
I've said that actually.
Just call us a leveler. Yeah.
Right. Just no, because
represent surveyors.
In the live chat, people, do you like how
much would you charge,
or do you like Bev's accent better? Just go ahead and tell us that in the live chat. So, how many hours do you think it would take you? Because you'd have to have a couple people, right? And you'd need to go back and forth between the half mile and the 1 mile away.
Yeah.
A little bit. So probably you'd set up somebody with a theodolite on the first post. You'd send somebody a half mile away, and then you'd communicate with them to put a mark.
No. Do you not know how to do differential leveling?
I'm asking the main surveyor.
Oh, right,
what he might do. I'm
please,
throwing out some
Jeff,
spitballs
tell us
here.
How you do it? Like, then you'll give us an idea how much it would cost.
So, Bev, the thing that is, you're not going to tell the surveyor what tools to use.
No,
you tell the surveyor what they need, and the surveyor decides what tools they're going to use.
Well,
I can't make the determination of what it would cost, but it might be at least a day in the field, establishing elevations, then do some calculations, come back another day, and make the marks that you want.
Wow. All
yeah,
right.
these are professionals.
2 days work then, Jeff. How much do you charge for that? 2 days.
Oh, I'm not,
you and your lad, obviously, the stick carrier.
What's the
I'm far too expensive for you to hire me, Bev.
How much would you charge for the ultra high class people that you do work for?
I'll look it up here. I'll look it up here for you, Bev.
Why don't you tell us, Jeff? What's up?
Because I haven't priced the job.
Well, have a quick price of it. Go on. Give us how much you would charge a normal person, then how much you would charge a flat earther.
So 2 days.
Are you a flat earther then? Is that what you're saying?
No. He said he charged flat earthers different prices.
So now, Bev, I have done pricing for software development. So I have a
McToons has done pricing for software development. So I mean, of course he'd know how much it would cost a surveying firm to mark 2 lines on 2 posts half a mile away and then another half a mile.
Would that be 2 separate pencils needed, or could they do it with the same pencil?
Yeah, I think they could mark it. Like, you could put an angle grinder on a bit of metal. It depends on what we put in the post, right? And
they want the most profit margin they could, wouldn't they? So
yeah, I mean, Jeff doesn't seem to know. Jeff's not very forthcoming with any sort of prices at all.
little bit of a background. You figure out how much time it is, and then you figure out your going rate. It's not that hard. So you got a day of book work and a day in the field for 2 people. So you got about 3 days worth of work, right?
3 days worth of work, says McToons. Remember, we've been over this. 3 posts. One of them we'll set and put a line on the post. So all these surveyors have got to do is put 2 lines on the other 2 posts that are on the same horizontal as the one that we've just marked. That's it. The job. And
we should just say at this point that these marks on these posts are at half-mile distances.
Yeah.
So there's one at half a mile, one at a mile away from the original mark.
Yeah, just in case anybody hadn't understood that we had 3 posts with a horizontal mark across all 3 of them. Now, 2 marks on 2 posts. McToons being a software user? I don't know. He's done something. He's got a computer probably. Yeah, he's got a computer.
Yeah.
Played a few games on it.
Yeah, solitaire. Because he's got no friend.
Yeah, so he's pricing this job for the surveyors to mark 2 things and 3 days. 1 day to go and have a look at it, presuming. Then go away and another day of calculations, and then you can finally come back and then mark them 2 lines on the things, I think. So 3 days work in total. Priced by McToons. And Jeff there, who's with him, representing surveyors. Let's see what goes on. Day of book work.
So maybe 3 days times 8, right? So what's 3 times 8, Bev?
Pardon?
That's wrong. It's 24.
24?
There you go.
That's how much the
second
difference
try.
in drop is.
So I'm just going to guess.
Canal.
I'm just going to guess. $150 an hour is maybe a going rate for a professional service like that.
Wow.
So
sounds profitable, Jeff.
$1,200 would be what you might expect to pay.
It's got bad maths. For Jeff to put 3 horizontal marks on 3 posts.
A professional surveyor needs to have a certain level of a quality that's guaranteed. They're not just going to come out there and start spitballing stuff and guessing at things, right? They're going to come out there and they're going to do a good job, and they're going to make sure it's a good job.
That's exactly what Goon's just done. Guessing at stuff and spitballing.
Yeah.
He says that's not what surveyors are going to do.
No.
But hang on a minute, that's exactly what you've just done.
He's making money for him, right?
By guessing and spitballing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Send somebody back to fix it because they're going to make sure they get it right.
It makes it fix it. Okay. So we've got normally they say that it'd be quicker to just do a GPS, right? But they say that GPS would be maybe 2 inches off.
GPS does not give you level.
It's not accurate.
Sorry, a horizontal.
It's not accurate.
Does not give you a horizontal plane. GPS gives you elevation, which are distinct.
Yeah, but we're doing an elevation right through horizontal, right?
Well, elevation and horizontal are different.
Yeah, but we're asking surveyors to establish, right, a horizontal.
Yes.
We're particularly, and now they do say that they can bring the GPS system, right? But it's not that accurate.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Was that right? How accurate could you make it then, Jeff, with your GPS system?
It depends on the length of time you have your setup. It depends on how many satellites you have. It depends on where the satellites are in the sky.
You have to have satellites.
Oh,
yeah, that's how GPS works.
Do you order them in? Would that be a cost process, right? Or would you just be charging somebody $1,000 to do this job when you could actually come and do it with a GPS and go blip blip and do it a lot quicker?
Golden Brisket just checked my work. You're right. It's not $1,200.
Bev, I can't retask satellites. You have to plan ahead of time.
Okay, fantastic. So how much you have to plan ahead of time to do your GPS? Jeff just said that.
Does that mean you, by deduction, you would need to plan ahead of time to use the GPS in your car?
Yes, I think so.
Whenever
Yeah,
you
it must
drive
do.
anywhere.
In order to be accurate, like he's just said.
So I would need, if I wanted to use the Maps app in my phone, I would need to plan ahead and maybe book a satellite.
Yeah, make sure there's satellites going to be there wherever you want to go. I don't know.
Oh, you don't need to book. You don't book the satellites.
No, you can't reposition them. No, you just have to plan ahead of time. That's what he
yeah,
said.
That's what he just said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plan ahead. Always plan ahead. Like it must have been a Boy Scout. Which would you charge then, Jeff, for doing this?
Let's back up. 3,600 was mine. I got the math wrong. So Bev,
3,600. McToon's got it wrong. It wasn't 1,200 they charged for marking 2 lines on 2 posts. It's 3,600.
let me just give a back up a little bit.
$3.5 grand.
Let me back up for you here, Bev.
Wow, they must be coining it in.
You seem confused.
3 marks on 3 posts.
Yes.
Coon realises that, yes.
Yeah.
He's gone completely OTs. It's funny.
This works.
Bev,
so,
Bev.
Let's see. Oh, I think Jeff. We have George Natchik in here twice.
Oh no!
And if you need to go. I know you had something.
Tap out. You're not tapping out, Jeff. Come on.
Bev, I have other commitments in my life.
Okay.
So Bev, the Earth is spherical. It's measurable.
Which geometry do you use, Jeff, before you go? Right, that's just happened there. Did you hear that nervous laugh? George has just appeared. Now, I tentatively said he was getting tapped out, but he might have got pushed out, right? He might have been getting to a certain point that he had to go.
Had to go, yeah.
So,
because if he's working to his ethics code, then anything from this point forward, I mean, they're blatantly lying about the money.
Yeah, well,
surely that comes under. Surely pricing comes under the code of ethics, that there must be set rates for doing.
Yeah, maybe. But I think
surely there is.
They've put it off, like, because we've established this horizontal, or tried to keep away from the horizontal. But the actual reality bit of putting the hose pipe next to it, I think that's what he has to run away from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a professional surveyor, he cannot answer that question.
Because once the hose pipe goes down, then that takes it from the realm of ifs and maybes.
Yeah, difference in their mind. There's a level and there's a horizontal. There's a difference between the two, and as soon as you put that hose pipe there and fill it up, it's either there or it isn't. Mm-hmm. There's a very definite. It's deductive reasoning would give us a definite answer from this. That's why the modus tollens has been set up. The logical argument. I mean, this has been properly prepared. This whole thing. To leave them in this position, and they're running away. Jeff's just about to do a runner. When you do your surveying, which geometry?
Surveying geometry.
Oh wow, who did that? Surveying. He's just made that up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that what? Is that a branch of Fight the Flat Earth geometry?
Oh, I know how much you like him.
He can't go without talking about that. I mean, I could invite him in.
He does make up geometry. I'll talk to anybody about Fight the Flat Earth geometry. If you've got a model, you'll be parroting his Fight the Flat Earth geometry too. Come for a chat. We'll show you geometry, and all of you lot parrot it, right?
No, Bev.
Yeah,
I told you I have surveying textbooks. I have surveying textbooks that explain the geometry involved in surveying. And you can test it yourself and see if it works out in the field or not. Like, the divergence of plumb lines. That's a pretty important...
The geometry of surveying is Euclidean. And like Jeff just said, the divergence of plumb lines, that's Jeff's big thing. We'll be going over it.
Important thing to understand.
How much do you charge for that?
Especially for your test. Oh, Bev, all the work that I've done on YouTube, that's all been at my own time that I've donated to educating people that are confused about
how much would you normally cost
water.
It then? That's his own time that he's donated.
And did you notice he said to people that are confused about water?
I like donating time. Does that mean we're donating our time at the minute?
Yeah, it's educating the confused.
Yeah.
Like him.
About not about water though.
Yeah.
About the reality of where what we observe and where we are.
Confused about logic, geometry, and reality, I would say, these people. The model is confusing them.
I have no idea because I haven't quantified it all, Bev.
So, Bev, I think you maybe because you don't, you're not employed in a professional field, you probably don't know how this works, but there's businesses that charge an hourly rate.
Yeah.
And that's very much independent of what the actual
it's pretty
employee
demeaning,
gets.
that. Tunes, right?
A lot of the time.
What are you talking to? Who do you think you're talking to?
Well, I know that you're not a professional. You don't work in a professional career where you work and your time is billed out. I know that. Is that correct? Or
can somebody just catch me up on what a professional is?
And somebody with a profession.
I thought you just had to get paid, right? Because you have amateur athletes and professional athletes. And the difference between the two is one of them gets paid and the other one doesn't. So I'm a carer and I do get money from the government. And it's not very much. I mean, we live off the meagre existence that we get. But I still do get paid from them. I get money for it. So Jeff, I mean, they know I'm a carer. They're just trying to demean carers, and
there is nothing to demean about being a carer.
Well, I mean, no, from him. I mean, he's a YouTuber, isn't he? This man is a YouTuber. I mean, he's
you mean Goon?
Yeah, he's the one that's doing it, right? I mean, he's obviously. I mean, he's just priced up a job for a surveyor.
At $3.5 grand.
$3.5 grand.
2 lines on a.
Yeah.
And they call that a profession?
Yeah. Well. Nice. You mean I'm a... Yes. Yes,
you get a new
I
job
am
since...
a carer for my family. Yes.
Okay, so do you...
Yes. I was
do you bill hourly?
a joiner. Yes, I was a professional
Do
joiner.
I bill
I got
hourly?
paid for that. And then I went to college and did a technical building course, right? For 2 years. where we did surveying and land surveying. So 2 years I was doing all of this.
Listen up here for
training,
a second. I have a clarifying question.
With the qualifications.
A clarifying question for
within
you.
surveying.
Yes.
So I find it a bit demeaning for you to have a go at being professional. I know what it's like. Unfortunately, I'm a carer now. I can't.
Can you zip it for a minute so that I can explain how these things work?
McToons. Okay.
Absolutely no humility.
The company charges an hourly rate, that is not typically directly paid in any proportion to the employee. All of the employees in a certain category might have their
all of this stuff's got nothing to do with anything,
but the
right?
individual employees make whatever they make. Maybe it's salary, maybe it's hourly.
Yes, I know. People make money for doing their job. Yes,
exactly, but it's not directly proportional. So if a company charges $150 an hour, the employee might be salaried, or they might get an hourly rate of 30, 50, 75. I don't know, right?
So
but
that
it's
would bring
not
this
100.
initial
So whatever
into account, then, right?
whatever the main surveyor, his time that is billed professionally out is not a 1-to-1 ratio to his income.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Bev, I make far less than I bill hourly.
Okay, fantastic. How much would you charge to put 3 marks on 3 posts over a mile?
Well, we have some
technical
connectivity issues here with. So
I don't know, Bev. Still getting me?
Sandy.
I didn't hear
kind of cutting out there. So we have just as an example, Geistview talks about his he does drone work. Yeah, it's kind of rough there.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to get going anyway. Bev, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, MC Tune. I've had a lot of fun, and I will talk to you guys later.
Yeah, it's a shame you didn't really tell us too much about your profession, so-called profession.